You're behind the bar.
Yeah, I'm behind the bar.
Behind the bar?
That's where I normally am.
Thought you were on the outside of the bar.
Depends on how drunk
Outside of the
I am. We're back. My name's Hugh.
Christian?
Harley.
And we're going into episode 2. And I'm not prepared. I don't have the right screen up anymore. But we're going to be talking about... I'm actually going to put it over on the side. We're going to be talking about the Season 1 episodes.
Yes.
So I have a list of the episodes to kind of jog our memories. Because mine is not great and my computer is freezing.
Our memories aren't the best either.
Right.
So.
And I literally watched these last night.
We started watching a couple of them last night. We finished the rest of them kind of this morning on the way over here.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So, starting off, we pretty much already did our version of this. Getting to know us.
Yes.
With the original crew of Hugh Perry, Michael A. Thomas, Mr. Grimm, which has become Dylan,
Yes.
and Castle Carter.
I miss Carter.
I loved Castle Carter.
Yes.
I was so upset when, midway through our season, he was like, I can't do it, guys.
I want him to come back because I enjoyed that.
I
in the
enjoyed
first
that
episode.
so much.
It was great.
He was so great.
It's raining.
And
And
dark.
cold.
And cold.
And
I don't want to go.
I don't know.
Instead, we have ramen and cookies. And though we literally, those were jokes for the original crew for so long after we first did it. It was like, what do you guys want to eat? I don't know, ramen and cookies.
Well, I mean, there's also too. My name is Castle Carter. I wanted my name to be fake, like me.
No,
Like my personality.
No, it was like, my name is Castle Carter because I wanted my name to match my personality.
Yes.
Fake. That's what.
It was beautiful, and I loved it.
The head toss was great.
So
It added that extra flair.
He was great. He just didn't get just schedule stuff didn't work out for him. So he
I'd love to bring him
kinda
back.
dropped.
Yes.
If he wanted to, absolutely, but I don't really know if he would want to.
Right.
Just because we've cut back on our schedule a lot, but I feel like even that would kind of get to him.
Right.
And even if it's every once in a while, you know.
Maybe. If he watches this and wants to, fucking message
Yes,
me.
yes.
Right.
But-
You are definitely invited, man.
But it was basically just to get to know you stuff. That's why I kind of skimmed over my history on the one we did, because I did it there.
Yeah,
Right.
it's already up
It's there.
So, but there wasn't much to talk about there. It was just getting our footing. Fun fact, we filmed that episode twice. Because the first one did not take.
Oh, lovely.
Because the green screen was not properly done. And it was nobody's fault. We just thought the lighting was correct, and it wasn't.
Right.
And so when you tried to green screen around us, there was just specks everywhere.
Space dust.
And green. You could still see green. And Mikey was just like, guys, Mikey, rest in peace. Guys, we gotta redo this. And we're like, fuck, okay. It turned out better, though, to be honest.
Yeah,
It probably did. I mean, we haven't seen the first one.
Yeah, but when I noticed watching the first few episodes, there's a couple of references we make to that Lost episode because we don't remember that it didn't air. So...
Oh, yeah.
The Lost episode.
And so, when Mikey is, in episode 3, which I'm skipping ahead currently, but Mikey in episode 3 was just if you consider Repo the Genetic Opera as a horror film like Grimm would, Grimm said that in the Lost episode.
But it never aired.
It never made it on the channel.
So, but that's fun fact. We filmed that twice. There wasn't much to say other than that was our introduction,
Right.
And you could tell that we were trying to fly really high with
Right.
we had different segments with the Haunters Corner and the Boo News and
Right.
all that, which was originally supposed to be Grimm's domain, and it became a little bit easier because we were going to have him just film the news and then send it in and then post it.
Right.
Right.
But nothing ever happened.
It just kind of fell off.
That's why, like, the one Boo News segment that we ever did, he was just like, they found a woman with 2 assholes. I was like, that's interesting, Chris.
That's interesting. What are you searching, sir?
What did you guys think of the first one, though?
I mean, I thought it was a pretty good episode, for an introduction.
Being the first one.
For being the first one, getting your foothold in.
Because, like, our first one's going to have hiccups. We're recording this immediately after.
Right.
Our first one's going to have hiccups. We realized that my camera was a little bit too high at one point, so there's...
Yeah.
And then we had a heater running because this room's fucking cold.
Yes, it is. I have 2 pairs of socks on. It's that cold.
But I remember after watching the first episode, I messaged you immediately. I was like, I'm so sorry for what I'm making you watch. Because to me, I was a part of it. It feels a little cringy to watch back sometimes. Although I did really enjoy... I believe that's the episode that happened in... I really enjoyed throwing Mikey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that was beautiful.
People at home or wherever can't see this, but for you guys, that happened right there. We used that couch. That couch was used as a crash mat. So I could just push him and he'd fall into the couch.
Well, I mean, at least it was safely done.
Yeah.
He didn't go through a wall.
Like your dad.
Yeah, like you might have through a wall.
And that was when we kind of established my character as being an asshole.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that I'm not going to do that on occasion here, because my humor is kind of asshole-ish.
Right.
I mean, all of ours is kind of asshole.
But if you couldn't tell, I've kind of abandoned the character.
Yeah, you kind of have. But I mean, it still comes out eventually at some point.
I'm still going to be like asshole-ish sometimes, because I just enjoy that kind of humor. But I'm not doing it as much on here.
We're hunters. It's what we do.
Right.
But also, it was a nice dichotomy between Mikey as the straight man.
Right.
And I was the jokey guy.
You were the humor.
Mm-hmm.
The comic relief.
Sometimes I wasn't, but sometimes I was.
Right.
And there were jokes that we had planned sometimes that we didn't always get to do. We'll come to those when we get to them on here, because there's a couple that I remember. Is there anything else you guys want to say about episode 1?
I mean, Castle Carter and his whole little segment was beautiful.
Great.
I loved that, and I think had he been able to do more episodes, that it would have continued to be the same jokey.
Yes.
I love him.
The same jokey videos it was, and I think it would have been amazing. Mm-hmm. But I understand scheduling for everyone kind of hindered all of that.
And again, we were trying to fly very high, close to the sun, at that point in time. So then, episode 2, we had Hunter's misconceptions.
I think you all covered quite a lot of them. There are some out there that we probably have not run into ourselves,
right?
And we haven't heard about. A lot of them are very true. Haunters are assholes. Haunters are anti this, anti that.
Yeah.
We can be assholes, and there are some things that we are against. But all of that boils down to personal preference on those topics. But again, haunters as a whole, we are a very welcoming group of people.
Yeah.
Yep.
We all come from different backgrounds of life, and we come together as a family, if you will, or, an entire organization to make something happen that we all love and enjoy.
Yeah.
And we don't care whether you come from a horrible background or this background. As long as you're here, your energy's great, and we work together, fine. We all love you.
Well, that episode was also filmed right around the big craze where people were dressing up as clowns.
Yeah.
Right.
And freaking out people just by, standing in the woods. You guys...
Yeah, because... That's a smart idea.
That whole thing, too, really did affect Pogo, and it affected me and several of the other clowns.
I didn't know Pogo at the time.
Right. It affected Pogo.
He actually put away his character and was like, I can't.
He put away his...
He was getting death threats.
His Facebook page, him, Dolly, and Gibbs. Will. They were all getting death threats, even though Dolly isn't a clown and neither is Will. But Pogo was getting a lot of them. So he deactivated the Pogo page for a while and just let it sit to let it all run around. Us clowns out in Clown Town most of us, me personally, even though we're not supposed to, I never left my own pocket knife in my bag because I'm like, if somebody pulls a weapon on me, I'm not taking that chance. Mm-hmm. Even though the situation never arose, and I knew security would take care of it, it made me feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
Personally, because I'm like, there's a lot of people out here that are making these death threats to all these other clowns from other haunts and places, and it was honestly scary for me to get in my clown outfit and in my makeup with all of that going on.
Well, I know. If I remember correctly, one of your characters is a clown and it's very dear to you.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
It was the clown that my brother had created whenever I was really little. Whenever he passed away, it got handed down to me. It was something that it upset me, especially seeing Pogo as nervous, because that's not Pogo.
Yeah,
man's
definitely not
nervous.
Pogo. And people would come through the haunt. I remember that they would search for him. Well, where's he at? They would ask for him by name.
Mm-hmm.
And they were making threats, and it was bad.
And of course, us being that's our Pogo.
Yeah.
And our thing was, don't come into our woods and touch our clowns. Because then you're gonna have to deal with all of us.
Right. Because I know when all this was going down, Rich, running the Asylum page, he put up a post with all of it. He said, if you come out to Asylum in search of one of our clowns and are making threats, you will be removed.
Be escorted off property.
You will be escorted off property by our security or in cuffs. Because that's not okay. These are people that have lives outside of this. Mm-hmm. And they have families. And it's not something to joke about. It's not okay. It's not funny.
Mm-hmm. That's what... Again, this was filmed during...
Right.
When we had Snuggles on. Jordan Jones.
Yeah.
From Field of Screams, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I believe it's Pennsylvania.
It is Pennsylvania, because I remember it.
And he was talking a lot of the same points of this is what I do, but there's a few bad apples making the whole patch.
Exactly.
Right.
And luckily, it's kind of passed.
Yes.
Right. Which is a good thing.
Yeah. But that was a big thing for a while there, that people would just dress up and kind of do stuff akin to how we did it, but in a very bad way, and it gave us a very, very bad name.
Right.
I'm going to skip ahead there because I think we kind of broadly covered the misconceptions already.
Yeah.
Then we had the first Scare Hugh episode, which was supposed to become a series. Didn't. But it was supposed to be Mikey taking me on a journey, literally he's driving, I'm in the passenger seat, on trying to get me into horror. It did not work. I still hold the same stance I hold.
Yes.
Sean, for Kentucky Podcast Massacre, has tried to do the same thing as well. It's just hasn't had a lot of chances to do that. I still hold the same stances as I have before. I understand jump scares are necessary. My main gripe with most modern, quote, modern horror films is that they rely way too much on jump scares.
Right.
And I don't like it.
There's more you can do than just a jump scare.
And
we are living proof of that.
The way I've said it many, many times is I can jump scare hundreds of people all day long, and I'll scare 99 people out of those 100. None of them will remember me.
Exactly.
If I can get in someone's head, you'll remember me till the day you die.
Exactly.
And, I kind of agree on the whole modern films relying too much on them. Because most films that come out now, it's mostly jump scares, and the ones that aren't, it kind of works, but... And I get that jump scares work. But there's more you can do.
And on a Kentucky Podcast Massacre episode, I believe it was our live stream announcement that we were coming back. I say coming back even though I wasn't a part of the normal crew, but I was a part of that new crew. And we announced on there the same thing, and he was like, well, what movie would you be willing to try? And I was like, well, I've heard a lot of really good stuff about the new It. And Chapter 2 hadn't been out by then. And since then, I've watched it. I haven't watched the last, 30 minutes or so. Because something came up, I couldn't watch it, and I just haven't gone back to watch it.
Part 1?
Part 1, yeah. But I really enjoyed it, from what I've seen. And yes, there's jump scares.
Yeah.
But they use them correctly.
Right.
They've used them when they're necessary. They use them to break tension on occasions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, you're expecting something big to happen, and then, oh, it's just a dog.
Oh.
It's no big deal.
Anticlimactic.
That sigh of relief, and then, boom,
and then
scared.
something actually bad happens. I predicted that I would enjoy it. I enjoyed it. But it just further proved my point. I'm still not a fan of, postmodern horror. What did you guys think of this episode when you watched it?
I think that it was a very interesting take on trying to get you into liking horror.
It was a very different type of episode to film, too. And I know I just asked you what your thoughts were, and then I started talking again. But it was a different type of episode to film because we literally sat and talked maybe 10 minutes. And the rest of the episode was clips.
Right. Which, I know that was Mikey's thing, was he wanted to try to get you to like horror movies and stuff. And it's not that you don't enjoy watching some of them. I know that you don't like the whole relying too much on jump scares.
Yeah.
And I know you're a fan of some of the more classic ones, like...
on the episode, I mentioned Magic by William Goldman.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally only one jump scare in that entire movie, and that's arguable if it's even a jump scare.
Right. And I know, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that you said you really enjoyed Repo, the Genetic Opera.
Yeah, I love Repo. I'm of the camp that I don't consider it a horror movie.
Right.
I consider it a dark musical.
Right. Which I can
but
agree with.
I can understand somebody saying that it is a horror movie,
Right.
and if you're going to say it's a horror movie, I like that horror
Right.
movie.
I can see both sides of it, whether you consider it a dark musical or a horror movie.
And if you consider Repo the Genetic Opera a horror movie, you're probably going to consider Devil's Carnival 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like all those.
Right. They're all great movies. What about you?
You said everything.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, do you want to move on to the next one then? Because my stance has changed, or not changed, it's stayed the same the whole time. But like I said, I think in the episode, I think I said this in episode 1. I am a fan of Halloween, not horror, mostly.
Right.
Which a lot of people are like, but you dressed up like a horror monster 2 months out of the year. Doesn't mean that I go out and watch every Freddy movie.
Right.
Right.
But episode 4, we had Granny 4-Barrel on, and we had the topic of freaks and sideshows. This was mainly a Mikey headed episode. It was his decision to do this episode, and only in retrospect, and you can see the moment on the episode that my mind kind of turned. In retrospect, it really wasn't super topical for the time period. Because, and again, you can see me turn in the episode. We're talking about freaks and sideshows and oh yeah, it's great to be a freak, that kind of stuff. And then it clicked with me that nobody uses it in a negative light anymore.
Right.
No. And it used to be considered horrendous.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, you can see me say that on the episode. That was literally the moment that I understood, oh wait, we might be talking about this all wrong. And I think Granny got to it correctly.
I think Granny did.
She was, because her whole mindset was, be you, even if it's a freak.
Be proud.
Be proud of who you are, regardless of if you're a freak or not. Because, in a way, we're all a little bit freaks.
Right.
But, and I proved that in that episode.
You did. You tried to get with Granny.
Not a lot of people caught on to that I was hitting on Granny.
He was.
I don't think Mikey even caught on to it. And he edited the episode.
Because he asked Granny if Granny would be his granny. And he said...
And then I asked if I could be his grandpa then. And then the most direct line that I said, too, was right at the end of the interview. Mikey was like, what'd you think of the interview? And I was like, I'm aroused. And like...
He did.
No response. Nothing.
He went way over his head. Oh. Nothing against Mikey. It just kind of... Woo.
And Granny wouldn't have had a chance to notice because the way those were filmed, Mikey would ask the questions and then we would come back and reword the questions. So I was never present on those interviews.
Right.
I could have been. It's just I never was.
Right.
And so Granny didn't interact with me at all. So she wouldn't have known that I was hitting on her. But I was hitting on her.
Unless she watched the episode.
Unless she watched.
But that was kind of the main point. Was like, I don't. That was also when I made the Tide Pond, right? That's kind of a subplot of that episode of me explaining how one would die from eating a Tide Pod as opposed to smoking.
Right. And then Mikey and his, well, it's just the same as this.
Yeah,
oh, no.
It's not.
Yeah, that's what spawned my
the Tide Pod brand.
Very different chemical makeup.
Very different chemical makeup, and if you live to see it pass all the way through your body, your asshole's gonna hurt.
Very much. You're gonna have chemical burns throughout your entire digestive tract.
But that was the main takeaway that I took from it, was like the episode would have been more topical, I think, if we had talked about it more from a historical sense and less of a modern everybody's sense. Calling everyone freaks, because nobody's doing that anymore.
Right.
No. And even if they are, it's not in a negative light anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like I know a lot of people will say that like I'm a freak or something like that, and I mean it very positively.
Yes.
Right.
It's more of a compliment now than it is derogatory.
Yes. Especially in our world.
Yes, very.
Very much so.